Hey everyone, you're listening to Nerd Boys Comic Book Blog. I'm Marco.
And I'm Andrea.
And today we're doing a Spoilercast and review for Wonder Woman. First off, we're going to do our kind of spoiler-free thoughts and then go into spoilers, talking about the characters, the events of the movie. We're not going to do like a whole plot, detailed run-through of the movie, but we are going to like lightly touch on some stuff. But before we do that, we just want to give our spoiler-free opinions on the movie. What'd you think?
It's an enjoyable movie. I really liked it. Compared to like Batman v Superman, this was by far the best movie I've seen so far from DC.
Yeah, in the DCEU. Yeah, I thought the movie was really great. Not perfect, but great. It was a really fun superhero origin movie.
Excuse me, I thought it was,
It's really, really good.
I thought it was pretty damn great.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not great. It's definitely a solid, like, 8 out of 10.
I give it a 9.8.
Okay, sounds fair. Almost perfect.
Almost, but not quite.
Not quite perfect. In terms of other DC movies, this is definitely probably the best one so far, at least from the DCEU. And you can tell, like, they've definitely lightened up the filters compared to, like, Zack Snyder's really dark BVS tones. And then you have Suicide Squad's weird neon, but that doesn't look very good either.
Suicide Squad looks like it came from Hot Topic.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman looks a little bit closer to Richard Donner's Superman. And maybe this Wonder Woman will be the way a lot of people see Wonder Woman going forward with the character.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see that.
What I consider best from all of Batman v Superman was Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's definitely the best part of the movie.
Even during the time that she was at that ball in Lex Luthor's place. I don't know, I felt like I actually got more persona, more of a character forming from her than Batman and Superman. Like, all I felt for Superman was like this sulky dude, and Batman was this angsty guy, and then here shows up Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's the hopeful one.
Glamorous and fabulous.
Out of the Trinity, she's probably the most like Superman than
and
this Superman.
She's lived through more than them.
Yeah, everyone complains about how Superman has less experience in the movies than he ever had in the comics. And Wonder Woman is basically that now. She has years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
And she's pretty self-restrained when it comes to violence and stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even fighting in a war, she didn't really kill that many guys until the end.
It really didn't look like she was killing anybody. And then, like, I felt like the only time that I got, like, those sulky glares that Superman does is whenever she would see somebody shoot somebody.
Yeah, when she saw violence committed by someone
else. By gun.
By a gun. She was very traumatized by guns. A lot like Batman, kind of. Because early on in the movie, she does witness gun violence, and it kind of traumatizes her.
Yeah, I mean, like, the first person she saw die was that girl with the bow.
Yeah.
And it was by a gun.
Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of Batman parallels there.
Did that ever happen in any of the Superman movies?
Where Superman's traumatized by guns?
I bet he'd be like, a gun?
I'm bulletproof.
Fight.
Yeah. No, I don't think Superman ever has that thing of, like, guns, because he's always been bulletproof and stuff like that. I don't think his parents have ever been killed by guns in any story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of being a superhero origin story, it was, like, really good. I think the last origin story we had was, Doctor Strange from Marvel?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe so.
And before that we had, Ant-Man. So it's been a while since we've had, like, a good, solid DC or Marvel.
Well, we had Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's not quite an origin movie.
No, that was a sequel to the first one, so.
Hey, you do find out some of, like...
You have a reveal of someone's origins, but it's not really, like, a full-on, like, this is how his character starts out.
Yeah, that's true.
Finally, after, like, 75 years of history, she has her own movie now.
And it's, like, one of... Well, how can I explain this? It is the first superhero female that we've had a movie from.
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah, because we have Catwoman, Supergirl, Elektra, and a few other really just...
But currently, like, in the new DC universe
in this new wave
and, like, in the Marvel universe, there's no new female movie.
Yeah, there hasn't been a recent one. Yeah, the last one was Catwoman.
That one, I don't consider that a movie because I don't even want to believe it exists.
I don't think anyone does. But yeah, should we just get into the spoilers? Talk about the characters?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go with... Oh, before
you start, can you explain to me the origins of her?
Oh, well, it's pretty close to the movie because you have Steve Trevor crashing on Paradise Island because back in the 40s it was Paradise Island before it became Themyscira.
Hey, when I think of mascara, I just think of makeup.
Yeah, Themyscira. Do they wear makeup on Themyscira?
Is it real or maybe it's Maybelline?
Maybe it's Maybelline. Yeah, but it's a very similar story with Steve crashing down on Paradise Island and the Amazons trying to find out who should take him back to the world of man, and they have a competition. Wonder Woman is forbidden from participating, so she wears a helmet and disguises herself as another Amazon, and she actually wins against all these other competitors because they have a tournament to find out who will take Steve Trevor back to the world of man. She becomes the champion, basically.
She's given the prize of Steve Trevor.
Yeah, kind of. He's a trophy wife. No, she's given the lasso of truth, her invisible plane, and a few other things. The tiara, the bracelets, those are all part of her prizes that she gets, so she could take Steve back to the world of man and they can fight in World War II.
You know what I find funny is that she has like a shield, the lasso, a sword, but then she has a goddamn invisible ship.
Yeah, that was a little... I don't think they're going to do an invisible plane in the movies unless somehow Batman builds a plane that's like camouflaged.
I can see that happening. Like, he's like, I created this for you. She's like, yeah, thanks, bro. I don't really need it.
Yeah, because we don't even know if she can fly in the DC movies yet. Like,
she can do really high jumps, just like...
classic Superman.
Yeah.
And then the only thing that really changes the origin up is instead of World War II, it's now World War I. And you have Steve Trevor fighting against Germans, but not Nazis yet. And I think that's obviously to avoid the comparisons between Wonder Woman and Captain America. They're both heroes in the colors of the American flag.
To be honest, though, I like Wonder Woman's costume a lot better than Captain America. Well, I mean, in the current costumes from Marvel and DC, I really, really dig Wonder Woman's outfit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the right amount of practical and comic book accurate.
Though I'm not gonna lie, it'd be really cool if they did like the high boots.
Well, they kind of do the high boots.
Like, that one was from the New 52, though, right? No, she has the one. She does have the high boots, but she also has like a weird like
the latches and the
gap
armor
between in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, of her legs. Like, you can see the gap in the back, but in the front it looks like a high. It looks really cool. But I really like the high ones from, I think it's the New 52 version.
The knee-high boots, or...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like classic, like 70s Wonder Woman.
But there's also the other one with, where she's actually has, like, pants underneath and, like...
Oh, yeah, that's New 52.
That's New 52.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one, and I thought that one was pretty cool, too. I want to see them, like, try it out. Not, like, be, like, her current, like, her constant costume, but, like, something that she could test out as, like...
Yeah, because there'll be plenty of movies with Wonder Woman in them, and you could always change up the costumes, like how Marvel changes up the costume every movie, and DC could have, like, this is Batman's batsuit for this movie, or Wonder Woman's armor for this movie.
Yeah, I really hope they start upgrading on Batman's costume, because I don't like how bulky it looks.
I think
or maybe it's because it's just how
Ben Affleck looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because every other actor that has played Batman has been smaller, and then Ben Affleck is getting actually pretty big.
I think the Batsuit will stay pretty bulky, but it'll change up every movie. Like, even in Justice League, there's 2 new Batsuits that he'll have.
Yeah. Okay, back onto the
movie, Wonder Woman. So that's, like, basically it for the origin, like, the differences between those two. But do you want to talk about the characters?
Which one should I start with? Because I felt like a lot of them were pretty great.
Do you want to start with Wonder Woman herself?
I liked her. I like how funny she was and how very knowledgeable she was.
Yeah, I was worried she would be really naive.
Yeah. There's a conversation between Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman. They're, like, on their way back to London.
Yes.
He starts telling her about how he can't fall asleep next to her because that can only happen during marriage. And she's like, what do you mean you can't?
You can't sleep with me? What? And he's like, I'll sleep with you. And then they go into this whole thing about how she's read about all 12 volumes of pleasure.
Because he's like, you know what I mean. She's like, oh yes, the pleasures of man or of the skin or something like that.
Pleasures of the body.
Pleasures of the body. Yeah, I remember that. And then she like, oh, I read all 12 values. He's like, oh, do you have them with you? Like, I would like to read it. She's like, oh, you would find it very boring. Yeah, that was a funny part for me. And I thought she has her funny moments. And sometimes I feel like even through more of her experiences, she kept doing it to be funny. Her conversation, the things that she would say. Like, she started actually interacting with the group that she was with like Charlie, the chief, and Samir.
Yeah, the Turkish guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All three of them, like, after she has the moment with Steve Trevor, when in the next morning she was interacting with them a lot differently and more playfully because she's starting to learn how to be like them.
Yeah, she's learning how to interact with the outside world.
Yeah.
Like, she's lived on the island of Themyscira and she's been with all these people for probably thousands of years, but now she's meeting new people. I was worried she would be naive, like in a lot of New 52 interpretations when she first gets to Earth. It's like, what's this, what's that, oh, fish out of water kind of scenario. But she seemed well read and educated about the outside world, but she saw things as like black and white.
But I understand like how she's supposed to know a lot, because she explained that her kind were meant to be for the mankind.
Yeah, they're the bridge.
But then they became slaves to mankind, and then that's when they became the battle between the Amazonian women and the humans, so they can be freed. It was pretty interesting. She knew her stuff, and that was great. I like that she knew what humans were about and what they were and how they interacted and everything. But I like that she learned more from her experiences being around them.
Yeah, definitely. And it wasn't just like the black and white. There's a lot of moral grays that she gets to learn throughout World War I.
Oh yeah, like the dark side of being around some humans.
Yeah.
Not all humans.
Not all
some.
humans. Some are pretty nice, like Steve Trevor. Or Captain Kirk.
Or Charlie.
Yeah. Chris Pine. One of the best Chris's ever. Do you think Chris Pine was...
I don't know about the best Chris ever, but
I mean,
he did play
3.
very well as Steve Trevor.
Yeah. Do you think he was playing it too sarcastic, like too modern day sarcastic?
No.
No?
Not at all.
Okay. So you can imagine a guy like that 100 years ago acting like that?
I don't know. I never lived 100 years ago.
Very true, very true. I don't know. I kept seeing like Captain Kirk every time he was saying something or being charming.
I don't know. I feel like that'd be a little... I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe because I don't see a lot of Chris Pine movies.
Well, you have seen all the Star Wars or Star Trek. My bad.
I have seen all the Star Trek movies, but I don't know. I don't like him as Captain Kirk. I liked him more as Steve Trevor.
Do you feel like Chris Pine could have played like a good Captain America if he had the chance?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. Honestly, I don't want to picture it.
Yeah.
Because then, I don't know. No.
Nah.
No. Because I like Chris Evans as Captain America because he has that solid attitude. And he has the nice body for it. I'm not saying Chris Pine doesn't. I'm just saying Chris Evans really matches that character, and he has created that character, and it looks great on him. Chris Pine, on the other hand, he has built his own persona around all these characters that he's played. Maybe some of his traits from his other characters do display on
Steve Trevor.
Onto Steve Trevor, but it goes well. And to be honest, now that I realized that you said, would I imagine a man like that 100 years ago? Yes, because not only does this man end up traveling all over the world, he experiences different personalities from different countries, different people that he surrounds himself with. Like you being military and all, you have to interact with other kind of people and like have to make up for bad moments and make it good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you make it like a funny interaction rather than having to look on the negative side. One of the other parts is that he's a spy. So he has to put on a lot of different characters onto him. So even though that's not really who he is, he just kind of has accustomed himself to become other people. Mimicking other traits that are probably not his, but he learned from somebody else. And now it's becoming part of him.
Yeah, like impersonating a German officer.
Like that, which he did great at.
Do you think he was really speaking German, or he was speaking with a German accent in English?
German accent?
Yeah. But then wouldn't Dr. Poison be really suspicious?
Because he had a German accent?
Because he was speaking English with a German accent.
it's for movie purposes. Stop questioning everything.
No, I just thought it was funny.
Now you're just nitpicking.
Yeah, because I thought it was funny how, like, the Turkish guy and Wonder Woman, they're going back and forth speaking all these languages. And then Chris Pine's just like, I'm not going to really bother learning. Yeah. The Inglorious Bastard that moment. Yeah. But then we have not just, like, the two leads, but also some other characters, like, you mentioned the Chief, the Turkish guy, and the Scotsman. Mm-hmm. All pretty interesting. They were kind of like the discount Howling Commandos from... What? It was just...
No, I was just gonna say that I was so happy when I, like, figured out who this actor was, because I was, like, looking at him, and I kept looking at Marco. I was like, I know this guy. He reminds me of the guy from Pearl Harbor. And now we just looked at him up, and I was like, he is that guy from Pearl Harbor, the one that just keeps stuttering. He goes... Ladies. I just remember that part. He's like, guys, we can't just sit around and we gotta dance with ladies.
Yeah, he's actually in like a lot of movies. I just noticed that now, but
But I feel like I remember him mostly from
Pearl Harbor,
and then just like the actor who plays Sir Patrick, I will forever remember him as Remus.
Yeah, Sir Patrick. There's a British intelligence guy who's, you know,
who's supposed to be the leader of the whole
kind of like the Allied Forces guy.
Yeah, he was like mostly their commander for them. Like, he would give them their mission.
Yeah, he's the one that basically sends Steve and Wonder Woman on this mission. And before we move on, do you want to talk about some of the Themyscirians?
Oh, yes. Like, that fighting scene.
Like the beach one?
Yes. Oh, my God. Like, not only did I find all these women, like, really amazing, beautiful, powerful, both sexy yet intimidating.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, really butch Amazons, and there's a lot of, like, skinnier... There's a bunch of different athletic builds to these Amazons.
Yeah. All the actresses were really, really pretty, and I really loved all their, like, costume designs. I have to give props to whoever was the costume designer, because holy crap, it was beautiful.
Maybe DC can win another Oscar.
Oh my God, yes. I really would want them to get like
they would deserve it this time.
Yes, they really would, because this one looks amazing.
Yeah. Like
all that leather, holy crap. They did really well on the German costumes too.
Yeah.
The uniforms. And I really, really liked a lot of Steve Trevor's clothing.
Yeah, his like 1910s kind of look he had.
Like the coats and everything.
Oh yeah,
those
the big
were
coats.
Amazing. A lot of Wonder Woman's clothing that she tried on was pretty spot on for the era.
Yeah, and I like the last outfit she had on.
The one that she wore around the city.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
I really like that one.
And I like the little Richard Donner reference right there, where she puts on the Clark Kent glasses.
I find it funny that Steve Trevor put it on her, and then Etta Candy looks at him and she's like, yeah, because she's not the most beautifulest woman you've already seen.
Yeah. It's not like glasses completely change who she is.
She's still going to be beautiful underneath that.
By the way, do you want to talk about Etta?
I only get to experience her for a little while, and I'm a little disappointed about that.
Yeah, she wasn't in it for very much, and even in the comics, she's like a sidekick character to Wonder Woman, and she's just that sidekick that Wonder Woman has.
I know. She was really funny. I liked her.
Yeah, she had funny lines.
I like when Wonder Woman left the shield and sword with her.
Yeah.
That was a funny interaction there.
You have to promise me with your life. Which, by the way, I don't know if I can get past Gal Gadot's accent just quite yet.
I can. I love it. I think it's hot.
Yeah. I mean, she makes some really badass lines with that accent, but at the same time, I don't know, I think like BVS made her seem not like the greatest actress in the world. Like, she's not bad per se, but she's just not that great. But in Wonder Woman, I feel like Patty Jenkins really helped highlight what she's good at in her acting.
I guess, but I don't know, like, she had a lot more lines that the way that she spoke when she was on the mascara, I can see her struggling as she was saying some of the English words, but I saw that she, like, put herself through it. Like, she actually embodied everything she was saying.
Yeah.
Which
like Arnold.
made it really, really pretty.
Yeah.
And I thought it was amazing. I'm like, girl, you looked fabulous saying whatever you were saying. Like, I really love her accent. I love how she actually pushed through all the words, because I could even see myself struggling through all those lines.
Yeah, I was kind of reminded of Arnold Schwarzenegger's first movie, which was Hercules in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much Wonder Woman. It's a Greek caricature, and he's sent to the modern world, or the world of man. It's funny because in the movie, Arnold is walking around in his Austrian accent talking to all these people, and they're like, what? But in Wonder Woman, there's never a moment of that. Everyone seems to understand her. I mean, she speaks English pretty well. Better than we do.
Better than me.
Should we talk about the bad guys?
The bad guys that we're supposed to think that they're the bad guys.
Yeah, the red herrings of the movie.
Yeah. There was General Luzin... What was it?
General German guy?
General German guy. No, he has a name.
General bad guy.
Ludendorff.
Actually a real person in real life, apparently.
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard he's a real historical
I'm all
figure.
meh about history, so...
Yeah. He's also Stryker from X-Men. Yeah, he's the guy who did the Weapon X program.
Yeah.
He has 2 superhero evil scientist roles.
I don't know anything about this actor except for he was in this movie, and I really thought he was the main bad guy.
Yeah, the movie wants you to think he's the main bad guy.
Like, I was like, girl, I want you to defeat this motherfucker.
Yeah, because throughout the whole movie, Wonder Woman thinks... By the way, Wonder Woman is never called Wonder Woman in the movie.
Diana.
She's just Diana. So Diana, she thinks throughout the whole movie that Ares is out there, and she's going to go to the world of man, and she's going to go kill Ares to stop World War I, because it obviously must be started because Ares is influencing man. And she thinks this general is now Ares. He is Ares in a human form or something. And plot twist, he's not. But throughout the movie, I was questioning that. I was like...
they full on let you believe that this is Ares. Because there's a moment when General Ludendorff interacts with Dr. Poison.
Yeah.
Like, they have a moment where she looks at him and she's like, but I made something for you that will help you get stronger.
To regain your strength.
Yeah. And she gives him this capsule, which he ends up breaking.
And inhaling.
And he inhales. I was like, oh, this makes it seem like he was actually injured by the Amazonians during the time that they were fighting. And something in him is broken right now. Yeah. And he needs some sort of energy.
Well, actually, it was Zeus's lightning bolt.
Yeah, because he got hurt.
Yeah.
But it's not that, apparently.
Yeah, apparently he just snorted a superhuman drug.
Yeah.
Which people are actually thinking might be venom from Bane. Yeah, so that might be like a precursor to Bane's formula.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's a fan theory, though.
But apparently not even Dr. Poison is the villain in this.
Yeah, she's also kind of a pawn to someone else's schemes. And I want to mention that this whole time I was kind of second guessing, and I was wondering if there was even an Ares in the movie. Like, I know from like the promotional stuff, there's a guy who looks like Ares, but we saw that in flashbacks, and I was wondering if Diana was going to find out that no, there's no Ares, there's no magic behind World War I. It's just people are really messed up, and mankind is just going to inevitably go to war for like these tiny reasons. And then you find out Dr. Poison and the German guy were influenced by the real Ares.
Who is somebody we never expected. At least myself. Like, I did not expect that being the villain.
Yeah, but Remus was actually the bad guy all along.
Who would have thought? Because he's always a good guy.
Is he always a good guy?
I don't know.
I've only seen him in Harry Potter. But yeah, the big twist was that Remus, or Sir Patrick from the British Allied Forces, like this little geek was Ares, basically.
Yeah.
This mustached weirdo. Do you want to talk about that reveal? When Wonder Woman, like, straight up beats up an old man and kills him?
Holy shit. Because she's like, I did it. I defeated him. It's like, why aren't people stopping? Like, why are they still continuing with everything? And I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, nothing's going to change. Everything's going to keep going. Oh, no. Oh. We all know that the war still keeps on going. So, like...
Well, actually, it ended.
I know, but, like, what was she expecting?
She was under the impression that Ares was really controlling everyone. And she thought... what's his name, German guy, was Ares. And when she killed him, looking back at it, she beat the shit out of an old man for no reason. Well, not for no reason.
He was under a drug too.
Yeah. He also killed a lot of people in that one village.
Oh, yeah. And then he killed all the commanders.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I like when him and Dr. Poison throw the canister in there.
And
then he throws the gas mask.
And Dr. Poison looks at it and is like, but the mask won't work.
And it's like, they don't know that. And they dance around. Like, and it's like Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey from Batman Forever.
I don't even know that movie.
Oh, well, don't worry. It's not that great.
What? Okay. Actually, I did see it once when I was younger.
Yeah.
Now that I remember.
So just imagine Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones dancing around like that.
Oh, wow. That's funny.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, do you want to talk about that big fight, or is there anything on the list before that?
The big fight between her and Sir Patrick?
Yeah, her and Ares.
I thought it was pretty cool, but I don't know if it was because of all the CGI. Like, I really liked when Ares decided to create his armor.
Yeah.
I was like, that was pretty cool when he put his 2 fingers between his eyes and like smeared the metal down and he created his mask.
Yeah, his helmet.
That was so cool. I was like, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm seeing something from like Diablo 2.
Except you can see his little mustache underneath.
It like, I don't know, it like appealed to my nostalgia in a way.
Yeah, well, your gamer nostalgia. Just that badass helmet look.
And the armor and everything looked pretty cool. But the battle was not as cool as when Wonder Woman and all the Amazonians were fighting on Mascara.
On Themyscira?
On the Mascara.
Themyscira.
That was like the best fight for me. Like, it looked pretty damn cool. I don't know why, but it's probably because of how like their clothing flowed or everything.
The slow-mo.
Yeah, it looked a lot like 300. But I never really liked that movie. But on this movie, it looked well placed.
Yeah, this is a weird thing, but I was thinking, like, how many German soldiers are there on this beach? But, like, they get slaughtered, except for that one Amazon who gets shot. Well,
there was a lot of them that died.
Yeah, there were a lot that died.
I don't know if you saw, but, like, when they started shooting, a lot of them were falling on the ground.
Well, we saw the movie, like, a few days ago. Kind of, like, forget that battle a little bit.
I don't. I thought it was the best one.
Yeah, it is really good, but I think the No Man's Land scene is a little
That
bit
one
better.
was pretty cool, not gonna lie, yeah. But I still think the Mascara one was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I like the No Man's Land scene because it feels very hopeful and optimistic. It's like this terrible scene of war, and before you get to that scene, she's walking through and she's on the front lines basically, seeing all this tragedy, like these horses in the mud that can't get through, this man who's just lost his leg, all these scenes of just graphic horror. Not too graphic, but it's implied to be much worse. Mm-hmm. And then you have this woman who tells Wonder Woman, like, oh, they've taken the village,
They enslave us.
They've enslaved us. And Wonder Woman's like, the women and children of this village will not be enslaved. And she walks out of the trenches, just goes
I like how
straight.
she takes off her coat, and I was like, what the hell? She had her armor under that shit?
Yeah, actually, apparently she had her armor under all of her clothes.
That was really weird for me. I was like, I can't picture wearing armor underneath that kind of clothes.
Yeah, whatever. Superhero movies. You gotta suspend your disbelief. But then walking out of the trench, it's like, oh, so awesome. They should have played the theme, or they kind of do play a pretty inspirational music, but then when she gets to the warehouse fight, and it's just the guitar riff, it's so awesome.
I always listen to the drum beat instead of the guitar riff.
Yeah.
I don't know, that drum beat, like, hits your soul.
It does. And it also showed off a cool scene where Steve actually learned from the Amazons.
Oh,
on
the
island,
shield?
the shield thing from the beach, and then they do it back in the village. Mm-hmm. And then you get the classic picture at the end of that fight scene.
Oh, yeah. But there's something else we should talk about that situation.
Oh, the romance between Steve and Diana?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought was a lot better than a lot of the other superhero romances.
I just want to talk about that kiss, though. I don't know, but every movie I've ever seen when it's, like, meant for, like, male audiences, I don't know. There's always, like, this rushed, quick kiss where it's, like, it almost seems sloppy. Like, it's, like, out of place and sloppy and rushed, and it's, like, a quick kiss or, like, almost somebody smooching somebody else's face off, and it looks really disturbing for me. Like, I don't know why, but when I see kisses like that, I have to look away. Like, I just, like, I can't. I wouldn't even make out with somebody like that.
Yeah.
And then seeing Steve Trevor and, like, Wonder Woman just kind of gaze at each other before they even approach to each other. They give that, like, slow gaze, and then they slowly start just walking towards each other and just looking at each other, like, really tenderly.
it was a lot of build up to the romance too. It wasn't just like they met and they fell in love. It was like, no, they met, they got to know each other, they had interactions, they got to know what each other were about pretty much. And this isn't just like your average superhero movie where it's like Peter Parker likes Mary Jane notices him, and then they get together for no reason.
I mean, the whole group that's with Wonder Woman is all male. She had a lot of chances of meeting all these other men. Like, Samir was flirting with her the whole time.
Yeah, but
Charlie paid no interest. But
you know in your heart that Steve and Diana were going to get together because it's the first man that she saw.
Or just because you grew up like that.
I grew up with the story, so I like the story.
But anyways, I just thought it was a really well-placed kiss and romance. Everything wasn't like quick and instant, like, oh, love at first sight. Maybe a little bit, but not quite everything. Yeah. It was more like...
There's the curiosity of like the first man I've ever seen, but then she gets to know who he is.
Would you say you're like the average man?
Like, I'm not average where I come from. I'm above average.
Anyways, I thought that was pretty... I don't know. That the chemistry was there and it was great.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
Which is kind of sad why he won't be in the sequel.
I cried. I really cried. I legit cried. I don't think I've cried in any of the Marvel or other DC movies. I never cried until Wonder Woman. And I was like... I knew it was coming. I knew it. I saw it. Like, I walked into that theater. I sat down and I was like, I know what's going to happen. But I'm not even ready. And then I saw it on the screen and I was like,
Yeah.
I cried legit tears.
But there are some fan theories that he did live throughout. Like,
bullshit.
Like, he got out the last second. And then again, at the end, when she writes that note to Bruce, and it's like, thank you for returning him to me. Like, that would contradict each other a little bit.
He'd be at 100 years old.
Yeah. It was a really touching scene, but it's also the exact same scene from Captain America.
What scene?
The first Avenger, where Steve, like, flies the plane and crashes it. Just opposite directions. He was going up, Steve was going down. Well, one Steve was going up, the other Steve was crashing.
God damn you. Which one? Like, I can't remember this scene.
It was the first Captain America movie. So Steve Rogers, he has to, like, stop this bomb from... Well, he has to stop a bunch of bombs from landing in, like, America and other places. They're charged with, like, the Tesseract, so they're going to cause massive damage. He flies the plane down. It's like the Arctic Circle. And it saves the world, basically. But in this one, Steve flies the plane up so no one gets affected by the gas.
The only way Steve Trevor lived is if he was saved by Zeus.
By Zeus? Or maybe Barry. Barry came back in time and was like, Steve!
Bitch! Saved by Zeus! He's a god that lives in the sky.
Yeah, I can imagine that, actually. Because he's the only god left, apparently.
But Diana is half a god, isn't she?
She's a demigoddess. Wait, did they say that Diana straight up is Zeus's daughter?
She is Zeus's daughter.
Okay.
But I don't know what half she is. What other half?
Oh, it's gonna be her mom, obviously.
You believe so?
Yeah, well...
I thought she said that she made it from clay.
No, okay, so it's kind of back and forth. So, in the original origin, yeah, it is clay. And they do tell her in the movie, like, her mom tells her, I made you out of clay. But in the end, it reveals that she's the god killer, and Zeus is her father. And obviously, her mother is her mother from the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
Did they make it super clear, or am I just thinking about the New 52 origin?
I don't know.
Well, it's funny, because that's not even the origin anymore.
I don't know, and I don't care, because I really like this movie.
Yeah, I like it too.
I like how everything was placed.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any questions left after this movie. Like, I felt like a lot of things were answered.
It was a pretty satisfying, self-contained story.
Like, you know how normally you watch a movie and you're like, I have questions, like, they didn't explain this. They didn't explain that. Where did this come from this? I don't know. I feel
there
like...
There are a few plot holes, but it's not, like...
major.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect the story that much.
Except for the fact that Ares was manipulating things behind the scenes, but I don't think he was, like... He didn't cause World War I. I don't think he assassinated Archduke Ferdinand, but somehow he just, like, used this war that was already going on to be like, alright, I guess I'll end the world now.
But how does that relate to having any questions? Or any plot holes?
Well, it's kind of just like, why did Ares... I don't know. It was like...
It's a lot like adding fuel to a fire.
Yeah, so Ares is just like, hey, I'm gonna end the world.
I mean...
He was just taking the opportunity. He saw the opportunity, he took it. He's like, hey, this whole world is burning already, might as well add fuel to the fire.
The only question I have in this movie is, what happened with Dr. Poison.
Maybe we'll see her in the sequel.
Because she escaped. Nobody saw her get hit or anything. She just gone.
Yeah, there's no doubt she's going to show up again. Or maybe we'll just ignore her for the rest of the DCEU because...
Dr. Poison helps poison Ivy.
That would be interesting. It would be interesting if this character, Dr. Poison, like, her work influences other superheroes and supervillains. Like, she created Bane's Venom. She kind of starts research that will eventually lead to Poison Ivy. If she studied the green, which is what Swamp Thing protects, and that leads to Poison Ivy's research. Mm-hmm. Or a number of things that could totally lead off into spin-offs. Or maybe Cheetah could be influenced by her work.
Yeah.
Anything else on the list?
Well, I have a lot of other, like, nonsense things. Like, I liked how the movie was not like Batman v Superman, where it didn't have any connections to any other movie. This is the story we're gonna give you, and this is the only thing we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, it was.
There wasn't any, like, we're gonna toss in some characters and make some cameos. Like, let's throw Flash in here at a random spot and be like, no, why?
Yeah.
Why you gotta do that?
Yeah, it wasn't like Suicide Squad.
Wonder Woman is the key. It's always been the key.
Yeah, Wonder Woman is the best DCEU movie so far. And she didn't need any cameos. She didn't need your obligatory Flash cameo like BVS and Suicide Squad. You didn't need a reference to... Well, you had one reference to Batman, but that's at the very beginning, at the very end. You didn't need any, like, Superman stuff. It was just...
The whole movie was like a big giant flashback.
And there were flashbacks inside that flashback, by the way.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
Was she thinking about a flashback and was like imagining the flashback inside the flashback? She's like, remember that time Steve Trevor, while telling me about his story, was in the German thing?
Yeah. She has a big imagination.
She has a big imagination. Yeah.
One other thing that I wanted to talk about was, like, I love the fact that every male character was a supporting character.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a reverse either. It wasn't like your usual typical male hero and everyone around them is like really stupid or a damsel in distress. It was like she was the main character. Everyone supporting her was like a pretty fleshed out supporting character.
Mm-hmm. For me, it was more like, I really thought like Charlie the Chief and what's his name? Samir. They could have done the story without them.
Yeah, they were definitely unessential.
Because Charlie, the only reason they needed Charlie was because he's a good sniper. But he never sniped.
He never shot anyone. Well, until the end.
Samir, well, being multilingual, didn't have any play in the story.
True.
And then the Chief could have been the only character they needed just to get past through everything. But the Chief was not even an important character in the story either.
Yeah, but you need your classic entourage. You need your big group of Howling Commandos or discount Howling Commandos. Yeah. But they were there for like all the major battles, like the No Man's Land. She didn't really get any further until, because she had her shield up and everyone was shooting at her, and she couldn't move forward until everyone else came out of the trenches to help her. You need a squad of people, almost like a Suicide Squad, but not... You need a squad of guys who can like be the A-team.
It literally was a Suicide Squad. Well, for only one.
Only one guy. Better Suicide Squad than Suicide Squad.
Better. Mm-hmm.
So what are we? Some kind of Wonder Woman squad?
Now that you say that, like, I literally was trying to remember, because you said there's never at any point where they said that her name was Wonder Woman. And I was like, I went through like every movie, like I'm having like a flashback of every scene, and I'm like, holy shit, they didn't. There's not even a single moment where they actually said, you're Wonder Woman, or where Gal Gadot says like, I'm Wonder Woman.
Yeah, or there's not even a newspaper headline that's like, Wonder Woman saves the day.
It's all like, I am Princess Diana, or I am Diana, Princess of the Mascara,
daughter of Hippolyta, and I will destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I also like, this is kind of going back to the very beginning, how the Amazons were kind of meant to help man bridge the gap between like where they are now and what they can be in the future. I thought that was something that they didn't really do in the comics. Like, I've never felt like the Amazonians were meant for that. I always felt like this is just a society of badass chicks and warriors.
I want to live on that island.
How'd you feel about that barrier?
What barrier?
The barrier that was protecting Themyscira, like, it's just any plane could crash into her, any boat could just float in.
I don't know. I thought it was convenient. It was not that bad. I don't think it
was too convenient.
Well, during that time,
There's not too much travel during that time.
During that time, yeah, especially because there weren't that many ships or big ships during that time. But I don't understand how Zeus could not predict that human race would progress that much.
See, I think it has to do more with the magic side of it, because Wonder Woman, like, snaps her bracelets together and, like, causes the magic and all that stuff, the big power wave to go through. And I felt like that was the kind of like her first stepping stone to leaving Themyscira. Like, her destiny was always to go after Ares. And I felt like when she unlocked that power inside of her, that kind of weakened the barrier so she could leave.
I don't know if it weakened the barrier, but I believe that's what...
I think it was just fate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat. Do you want to talk about the possibilities of the sequel?
I don't even know what to think of what's gonna happen in the next sequel. I don't know which characters are gonna be in the sequel, and I don't care. As long as Gal Gadot is in it, I am fine.
I mean, with like an opening weekend of $100 million.
And as long as they still have the same director, I am good.
Yeah, Patty Jenkins did sign on.
I know, and I am happy with that. I am fine, and I don't expect anything, because then I don't want my hopes up and I don't want my hopes down. So I'll just leave it at suspense.
Okay. Just be mildly anticipating it.
Like every other movie.
Every other movie. You're just like, I don't care. And then the week before, you're just like, let's go.
Yep.
Yep. That's every movie ever for you. Even Pirates of the Caribbean.
Which sucked.
Yeah. But Wonder Woman was great. And I really hope for the sequel they introduce more characters like Circe or Cheetah, maybe even introduce some characters like Donna Troy, even though that'd be a little bit confusing.
Why?
Well, because we don't really know what time period this is going to take place in yet. If it's going to be like the 40s or the 70s or maybe even like present day.
Now that you said Donna Troy, I really hope it comes out in the next movie.
Yeah?
No. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna hope for anything. I'm just gonna watch the next movie when it comes out. But yeah, what do you expect from this?
I expect, I don't know, I'm thinking it might be like they'll time skip to maybe 1970s. And we could see what happens there. Because that's a kind of an important period for Wonder Woman. The 1940s obviously is very important for Wonder Woman, but they kind of slid that back to World War I. And now we can go to the next monumental time for Wonder Woman being the 70s, early 70s feminism, where it was like really cool to like burn your bras or whatever. And we could see Wonder Woman's perspective on that, or maybe even have some kind of villains that are trying to destroy the world for some crazy, kooky reason. And also explain that she can never go back to Themyscira because of some things that she might have done.
Like what?
Well, in the comics right now in DC Rebirth, once she left Themyscira the first time to bring Steve Trevor back, she's never gone back to Themyscira again. Every time she's quote-unquote gone back, it's been a hallucination or it's been a lie or a fabrication. So she's never been back home since the very beginning, since the time that she left. And I kind of want to see if the sequel could deal with that, with like her never being able to return back home, and see how man's world has kind of affected her. I don't know, it's an interesting idea, but probably something they won't explore. They'll probably just skip to present day and be like, hey guys, what's up? We just formed the Justice League.
I don't want to say I really hope that there's this line, but I would like to see it. There was one of the movies that you showed me with all the Justice League characters in it. I forget which movie it is. We saw a lot of movies that one time. You showed me a lot. There was the one where she wraps around the lasso at a protest against her. And he's like, I'm lying. I really like your costume. I wear it sometimes and it makes me feel powerful. And she's like, thank you. My costume makes me feel powerful too.
Yeah, that's actually Justice League War, which we can kind of recommend. It's alright.
It's a really good movie. Yeah. But I really hope there's like a line like that. That'd be funny.
Yeah. I'd like to see... I don't know. There's a lot you could do with present day Wonder Woman, and there's a lot you could do with like Wonder Woman in different time periods, because she's lived for so long in man's world. But any final thoughts on the movie?
I already gave it a 9.8 out of 10.
I give it an 8 out of 10.
You can bump it up a little, can't you?
I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, Jeff Johns. This is the first movie he was involved in, technically, for DCEU. He was involved with the Green Lantern movie, but that didn't turn out so well. But this is his first DCEU movie. But yeah, altogether, I think Wonder Woman is great, and you should definitely watch it if you haven't. If you've listened to this entire podcast without watching Wonder Woman, I have to question why you're doing that.
Why? Why would you do that to yourself?
Why would you do that to yourself? You've basically ruined a lot of the movie. We didn't talk about everything. We didn't talk about detailed plot synopsises, but we gave you enough to basically know what happens throughout the movie. So why? Why'd you do that?
Unless you're that kind of person that likes to like spoil everything for yourself before you go watch the movie. I don't know, man.
Yeah, well...
Go watch it.
Definitely go watch it. If you've already seen it, definitely rewatch it because it deserves a rewatch. We're probably going to rewatch it again soon, maybe. But yeah, this is the end of the podcast right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the end of the podcast. If you are a new listener, I'd like to remind any new listeners to please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be alerted whenever we upload new content. You also like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Marco.
And I'm Andrea.
This has been Nerd Boys Comic Book Blog. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Peace.